So today I'm going to be installing some Proton flush mount turn signals. So when you unbox these lights, it comes with a set of instructions for installation. It comes with a bag of washers, nuts, and bullet connectors, and then obviously with the lights and the wiring harnesses themselves. So the first step is going to be to remove the fairings that house the turn signals, so that would be this big fairing. So before I get started on that, I'm actually going to be spray painting these with some VHT nightshades, just because I think the all black look would be cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and be doing that while taking off the body panels. So this fairing, there's 10 bolts that need to be removed. They're all 4mm hex heads. And one right there, there, should be one there, there. 1, 2, 3. So every time you remove these bolts, there's gonna have a little washer, plastic washer on there. Make sure to look for that. It's really tiny. And also, when you're removing this front fairing, you also need to remove these two push pins right here. There's one over here on the side, and there's one right here. To remove these push pin fasteners, you just need to basically stick a screwdriver right in the middle, then you can just pull it out. Once the fairing is removed, you just disconnect this turn signal right here. Now you just pull this plastic cap out right here. Next step is to remove that bolt in there. It's mounting hardware, and that's an 8mm. Once that's removed, it should look like this. The turn signals should be able to hang freely. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and take out this entire rubber piece. Now while I'm waiting for those to dry, I'm going to go ahead and take the entire other side off as well. Alright, just got the other side off. It's the almost same exact process. Okay, so the lights have finished drying now, and I'm going to go ahead and unravel these cords and see how we're going to splice these together. Now, as it says in the next step, go ahead and insert this light until it sits flush and play with it until it, there we go. Right there. So here's what we got on the back side. I'm gonna go ahead and put this washer on first, and then it's a self-locking nut, it looks like. This one, just like the other stock nut, is going to be an 8mm. And I just tightened this down until the washer really had no more play in it. There's no point in going too tight on this because the nut is gonna lock itself. The next part is to go ahead and cut this harness right here and go ahead and splice these wires onto the new supplied wires and then hook it up. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here. Stick the wire cutters through. Do a clean cut right before it sort of goes together in there. It's just enough length so you can have separation. Just go ahead and just cut it. Next step is going to be to go ahead and strip the wire. Now this here is what the finished product should look like. I'm going to go ahead and set my voltmeter to direct current. I'm going to find a ground, which could literally be anything that's metal. So here's like a bolt in the radiator. You're going to go ahead and set it there. And then you just touch the top of the red to the actual wire itself to see if it's getting any readings. With the turn signal off, we should be able to find the running lights. So the blue is going to be our daytime, and then if I turn the right turn signal on, go ahead and connect it to the green. And yeah, it's not going to be a full 12 volts because it's constantly turning on and off, but we are getting a reading here. Blue is running light, green is blinker, black is ground. So I'm gonna strip these wires a little bit longer just to give myself more room to work with when splicing this harness to the wire. What I like to do when I have this exposed wires, I like to go ahead and twist it clockwise just to keep things together and keep individual wires from like fraying. So I twisted all these up. So we know that blue is the running light, and it says in the directions to plug the red wire, connect the red wire to the blue wire, and then the black wire, the ground, to the OEM ground. Yep. Okay, so there are two ways that you can go about doing this. Well, there's actually a few ways, but they give you bullet connectors, and basically you just push one end of the exposed wire in to one end of the bullet connector and vice versa on the other, and then you use something like a wire crimping tool right there, and you crush the metal connection on the inside and keep the two wires running in one current. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder these wires together. All right, so I brought the wires down to my basement, and right there is like the first connection. I'm not a professional, but I also, just to mention on the side, I have some heat shrink slash weather sealant that you can put over this open wire. Okay, so got the black and red connections. I'm gonna actually just go upstairs and plug this into the bike and see what the turn signal ends up looking like with the yellow wire only, with the orange wire only, and then with both of them combined. There's the daytime running light, and just orange looks like. So that's just orange. That's the normal turn signal. Yellow. That's the one that I want right there. So the strobe, that's cool. All three together, it's a fade function. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. That's cool too, but I like the strobe the best. Got all the wires hooked up. The connections are solid. So nice thing about keeping this orange wire here and having this heat shrink over the exposed wire is that this will not interrupt any of the connections if it happens to end up touching them. So we can just leave that like that, and here's what it looks like all zip tied. My first step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug this turn signal in. You know, it's to the point where stuff will just start to snap in place, sort of. I'd recommend not tightening every bolt down first. Get them loosely positioned, get them threaded, and then you can, be able to move the plastic more if you have to. There's a little knob up here that you got to get into this corner. It's tricky. You got to do that before you tighten these bolts down for sure. Alright, so this is what one side is going to look like when it's done. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the battery so you can see the amber light and the turn signal function. Now it's time to the other side. It's going to be the same exact process when it comes to wiring. On the other side, it looks like the wires are different colors. Well, black and blue, I'm guessing are going to be the same. It's just this one's brown. So, still going to go ahead and double check the voltages on these.